So we have an ongoing oil spill.
Ongoing oil spill.
It is ongoing. There's the EPA is here. Bill Gates, we need you. Please come to our house and fix the oil spill that's happening.
We need Dawn soap to clean our dog who's covered in oil now.
No. Okay, here's what happened.
Doctor said you got PCOS. Now go on, girl, just lose some weight. Till I took the symptoms into my own hands and reversed them naturally.
Tom, you explain the story.
Explain what happened.
Hilarious story.
It's totally my fault. I was recording a TikTok with the supplements. They were all in my hand. I dropped the fish oil one. And then I was like, let me just finish this TikTok. Then I'll go kneel down and get that fish oil. So then I finished the TikTok and I kneel down, and instead of like looking before I kneel and smush the fish oil supplement.
This pill right here.
Fish oil squirting everywhere. Do you know how much fish oil fits in this? You don't know until it pops. Let me tell you.
We do the clinical dosages, baby.
I know. And it smelled so disgusting. I cleaned it up. The first day it didn't smell that bad.
Oh, what are you kidding?
No. You didn't know about it until the second day when the sun hit it and cooked it on the floor.
No, I smelled it a little bit.
That's when the smell really penetrated.
Yeah. No, I smelled it a little bit the first day. I was like, it's interesting. Smells a little fishy in here, whatever. And then
I tried to clean it. I used soap and water. I used bleach. I used vinegar. I used the spray that you use for the dog pee. Nothing worked.
Yeah. Clorox. We used bleach. We bought a degreaser online.
Oh, Sirak bought a degreaser.
A spray degreaser, and that didn't work either. And then finally, just recently, the last few days, it's actually like gone down the smell where I don't really smell it. But the first 2 days, like I was so annoyed about it too, because it's like it was like a Friday or Saturday night. So like Ty went to sleep earlier, and I was watching a movie. So I'm going to bed at 12:30 or 1 a.m. And like I walk in the bedroom and it smells so bad that I wake up Ty. I'm like, it smells like shit in here.
It was a stench, you guys. Fish oil smells. And I honestly, when it squirted everywhere, I was like, how bad could it be? When you swallow our fish oil supplement, you don't actually taste the fish oil. You don't get fish burps. You don't taste fish oil. It's
never got that once with ours.
Formula. So subconsciously, I was like, it's fine. Why would I think that? It's still fish oil.
Yeah.
So mistakes were made. We learned, do not squeeze this all over your hardwood floors.
That's what happens.
It will be a problem.
Yes. Okay. Well, we made that mistake for you because I'm sure no one's ever going to make that mistake now. When you drop your fish oil, you're going to look before you kneel down.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, today's episode, y'all, is kind of supplement related, kind of going into the supplement world. We're going to talk about Berberine. Recently, or just the last few years, it's been talked about nature's Ozempic as a natural GLP-1 antagonist. We'll really go into those claims and see if that's actually true. Plus, we'll go into what Berberine is, how does it help PCOS women? Are there actually PCOS studies on it? And we'll talk about the current state of the supplement world and how actually not all Berberine is made the same. Just a little preview. There's a study done just a year ago where less than 40% of Berberine labels were actually accurate. So we'll go into those and explain further, but just really interesting stuff to look at.
Yes, we're very passionate about Berberine, and we've in fact come out with our own, and we'll get into that as well.
Oh yeah, that's a great part. There was a little surprise at the end, but Ty couldn't hold it
in the beginning. We worked so hard. I mean, like Sirak said, a lot of berberines out there are not pure and potent with the dosages that a woman with PCOS needs. So we are solving that problem.
If you're watching on YouTube, here's the bottle right here that you see. Scissors, you actually helped out with this, just so you know. We on Instagram, IG, we did a few polls about it, not only about the name, but also the label, the looks, everything. And we really did it all based on votes. So if you don't follow us on Instagram until now, go to Instagram at pcos.weightloss for just seeing all the behind the scenes for everything.
All right, sisters, let's get into it.
Yeah. First, let's get started with our wins of the week. Our first win is from Shandani. These are sisters who are managing PCOS, reversing symptoms, and essentially showing PCOS who the boss is. All right. You like that pause, don't you, Tom? You got that pause. All right. Shandani says, just got my period again after 2 months, started adding in Berberine. Amazing. That one was short and sweet. Shandani's like, I'm going to go straight to the point, dog. I don't need to tell you all this thing.
I know.
That's
I screenshotted that and I saved it because I like to save informative testimonies. And today was the perfect day to pull it up.
Yes.
Next, we have Gabby. She says, taking all the supplements you recommended and incorporating the slow-weighted exercises got me a 28-day cycle with progesterone and without progesterone or birth control.
Yes.
Congrats, Gabby.
Love that.
From
Congrats,
the
Gabby.
sisterhood.
So happy for you. And just so really happy to always see all sisters reversing symptoms, no matter natural or even going down, like even if you do take birth control or anything, we're just always happy to see everyone managing their symptoms.
Yes.
Cool.
Shall we?
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, what the heck is berberine? Berberine is a deep yellow compound. It comes from the roots and the stems and bark of plants such as Indian barberry, Chinese gold thread, golden seal, and Oregon grape. So I'm sure you've never heard of any of these plants because we don't consume these plants. Berberine isn't something you can just eat. Like turmeric you could add to your dinner. You can't add berberine to your dinner.
Even inositol, like inositol is found in a lot of foods, specific foods. We talked about it in the past, but yeah, berberine's not like that. It's really found in these specific things. Like we're not going to eat bark, right?
Right.
I mean, I tried one time. It wasn't that bad.
Stop. So that's why we would have to take a berberine supplement. With that being said, if we're going to rely on a berberine supplement, we want it to be pure and potent.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And there has been actually several research studies done on women with PCOS that indicate that berberine can really improve insulin sensitivity and glucose uptake. We're going to get into all those details as well. By the way, we've been creating merch on and doing polls on Instagram. One thing we've realized is, sisters, you guys don't like merch. All the polls have been like 50-50. Like we're expecting like, oh, like maybe it might be 80 or 70% like, yes. But like it's like 51-49. It's like 50-50. It's like the elections, man.
Yeah, it's close. And the reason why Sirak's saying this is because he says insulin sensitivity on the podcast a lot. And we wanted to come out with a hat that said that.
Well, people were saying that I don't want to see PCOS on it. So this was the main thing.
Yeah.
And let us know in the comments on YouTube like what you think. But essentially, sisters were saying that I don't want the word PCOS or something related to be on my shirt because it reminds me, and we totally understand. Totally makes sense. So now we're going to go down the route of like something more positive. So a lot of people were suggesting I would rather wear something that says thriving or insulin sensitivity. People suggested that. And I was like, wow, a shirt about me and my speech impediment, I would appreciate that.
Speech impediment. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a speech impediment.
We all know I mumble my words on this podcast.
Okay.
This podcast. Okay. Tanya, stick to the topics. What's next?
What was the topic? What are we even here for? Is it fish oil? Is it merch? Or is it berberine? And how it's considered a natural GLP-1.
Okay, so why is it considered a natural GLP-1?
Okay, so berberine works on our bodies in a way that GLP-1 works. And I'm going to get into that right now. But berberine isn't a GLP-1 agonist like Ozempic or Mounjaro. It does act on similar pathways and can mimic some of the metabolic benefits of GLP-1 receptor agonists. So here's how it does that. Number one, it basically flips on your metabolic switch. It activates an enzyme called AMPK, AMP activated protein kinase. And it's often referred to as your body's metabolic master switch, that enzyme. And so when it's activated by berberine, it triggers a cascade of effects that mirrors part of the mechanism of GLP-1s. It increases your glucose uptake by your cells. So you're burning the glucose that breaks down from what you're eating. It decreases your liver glucose production, so that if you are struggling with fatty liver, this is a really great supplement to take. It enhances insulin sensitivity and it encourages your fat burning over fat storage. So that enzyme being turned on by berberine every morning when you take your supplement can actually have this metabolic impact on your day, making the things that you're already doing, whether it's lifting weights or eating healthy, going gluten and dairy free, whatever you're doing, it's activating your metabolism so that you can see better results with what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in a way, GLP-1s are able to also do that.
Yes. Yeah. Although it's not exactly a GLP-1 like Ozempic or Mounjaro, it essentially has the same downstream effects.
Yes.
All right. Amazing. Now going down to further benefits, continuing on that is is, do you want to continue a bit?
Yeah, I'll continue.
Yeah, go for it.
Now, the second way that it's similar to GLP-1s is that it improves your satiety and reduces your appetite. So, as you've heard from so many people who are taking GLP-1s, they have a very reduced appetite and the food noise subsides. So, that's something that berberine can also help with. It doesn't directly bind to the GLP-1 receptors, just like Ozempic, Mounjaro, but it can increase the GLP-1 secretion from your gut. You may have heard that berberine improves your gut microbiota. And so when you improve that, like the gut microbiomes, you're able to produce more GLP-1s and also the hormones necessary to tell your body that you're full or that you're hungry. So it balances those hormones of the hunger and the fullness cues. So that's how it can naturally curb your appetite and help with weight loss, especially in women with PCOS, similar to how GLP-1s are able to do that as well.
Yeah. And that also relates to how GLP-1 drugs improves insulin resistance. And with that being said, let's go into some of like the benefits of berberine for PCOS women and how the studies supporting that. So number one was a clinical trial found that supplementing with 500 milligrams of berberine.
Three times a day.
Sorry, there's a fly right in my way. 500 milligram berberine 3 times a day for 3 months resulted in a 36% reduction in metabolic syndrome, as well as increased insulin sensitivity. Yes. Another study, this one supporting weight loss, found women who took 500 milligrams of berberine 3 times a day for 3 months lost 3 centimeters around their waist. So this is great for whoever, if you're struggling with, belly fat or just like trying to lose weight in the hip area as well.
Yes. It also improves lipid profiles for PCOS women. So if you're struggling with high cholesterol and triglycerides and you don't know why because you feel like you're eating healthy, I've heard this so many times from women with PCOS. They're like, why would my triglycerides be high? Like, I don't understand. Well, the metabolic issues happening with PCOS on a hormonal level. Not always, like diet isn't always the only thing. Berberine can also help with that, with your lipid profiles and metabolic health. Like I mentioned earlier, it flips on that metabolic switch.
Yes.
It also improves ovulation. In 2023, research reviewed on women with PCOS found that berberine supplements appear to reduce androgen levels. And then as we know from previous episodes, we've talked about how when you improve androgen levels, it supports healthy ovulation. With PCOS, when you have insulin resistance, it triggers high androgens like testosterone in your ovaries. And so when you take a supplement like berberine, it can improve those androgen levels and then help with ovulation.
Yes.
And then it also potentially is an alternative to metformin. You should definitely talk to your doctor about it. You've heard us talk about how inositol can be an alternative to metformin. So if inositol wasn't the right fit for you, if you feel like berberine needs to be, you need more support than inositol, like ovasitol, you could add on berberine to it. And it could be a really helpful tool if you don't want to take metformin.
Yeah. And speaking of that as well, like speaking about inositol, I'm sure a common question that we'll get is, should I take ovasitol or should I take berberine? At the end of the day, it's really up to you. If ovasitol is working for you, there's no reason why you should just stop taking it and switch. Continue what's working. But if you found that ovasitol is not working for you, or you feel like you need a bit more, it's a really great idea to either combine them together or try berberine instead. Because some women with PCOS have been shown to not be able to absorb inostols as well without some added components. That's still a minority. I believe it's like 10 to 20%, but for majority, inositol still is great. So it's really up to you. Keep in mind, berberine does have additional benefits as well, like with gut health. So there is some extra benefits you can get for berberine as well.
Yes.
Amazing.
All right. So we got into the benefits.
Yeah.
We talked about how it relates to GLP-1s.
Yeah. But a little fun fact too. Something we found out in our really long research was that like China has actually been giving berberine as a way to help people with type 2 diabetes as a supplementation, like as a means of their treatment program. So I really wish we were more like that here in terms of thinking about supplements and thinking about things like that as a form of treatment, because other countries are ahead of us in that area. And clearly, sometimes our country is too focused on pharmaceutical drugs because there's a lot of money there. So also benefits, but also there's a lot of money there too. Yeah.
All right. So let's get into how not all berberine is made the same.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, you want to immediately order berberine, hop on Amazon, see what's on there.
Yeah.
But Sirak really is passionate about this part. Get into it.
Okay, so in 2023, this is so interesting. In 2023, they took 33 supplements from Amazon. They clicked add to cart, not subscribe, add to cart. And this is an independent laboratory, and they tested each of these 33 berberine supplements to see what's inside. What are there contaminants? Is the label accurate? What's actually in there? And they actually found that 18 of the 33 contained less than 40% of the labeled potency. 40%. And 7 of these products had 1% or less of the claimed berberine content. So let's recap that. They tested 33 supplement brands, and 18 of them had less than 40, and 7 of them had less than 1%. So that is like the majority of the berberine supplements you're finding on Amazon, random websites are going to be, it could potentially be one of these.
I cannot imagine like how irresponsible of a provider are you, or a website or a supplement product person who's selling them. How irresponsible to sell something that's not NSF certified for women who are already suffering so much. We see these research studies. We see how well berberine works.
Yeah.
And then we go online to buy it, and most of them are not NSF certified. Most.
Yeah.
Almost all.
I think I could not find the NSF certified one on Amazon, so I'm not exactly sure if there is one. But just to kind of also mention too, for anyone who's like wondering, okay, when I look at a supplement bottle, like what should I focus on? Because like there's a lot of companies that are GMP certified versus NSF. So just a quick explanation. GMP certification means that your facility and your processes and the way you handle supplements and materials are up to standard. It has no implication on what's in the bottles themselves. GMP is only for the manufacturing of the bottles and packaging and labeling and handling of those things. It doesn't take into consideration if the supplement's being actually tested itself. So if it's NSF certified, that means it's a gold standard where they go above step of that, where they actually test the products, each batch, to make sure what's in there is what's on the label, and contaminants, anything like that. And it's also on their website too. It's public results. You see what the actual company is providing.
Yeah. So I would just,
So with that being said,
caution is important. This is why it took us so long to come out with berberine, because we had to wait for that NSF certification, which is so rigorous. Yeah.
And just to keep in mind, like that doesn't mean we're like the only great berberine supplement out there. Like if you go on Amazon or any website, like there are, I'm sure, good ones too. Like as we always talk about, like our favorite brands out there are Thorne, Pure Encapsulations. Those are like 2 favorites. We don't usually take a risk, if you want to say, with other companies, unless they have that NSF certification. So
is Thorne berberine NSF certified?
When I looked, it wasn't. I was kind of surprised that Thorne was not, but maybe
Pure Encapsulations?
Theirs was not. So I'm kind of surprised as well.
Well, sisters,
but
let's not lead you to the wrong direction. I trust them with the other supplements. They're all the other ones are NSF certified.
I'm not sure why it's not, to be honest. I am not sure why it's not.
So that's why we came out with berberine.
But, I don't know. We're not saying anything. We're not saying though what their label is not. I'm just saying I'm surprised.
I have their products, which are NSF certified. I'm just surprised the berberine isn't.
Yeah. But with that being said, so we've been testing our berberine for a few months now. I think since September is when we first got our first batch, and Ty and I started taking it every single day. Because like before we sell any supplement, before we come out with anything, we actually tested ourselves to make sure it's good. It's actually like the tea, for example, like does it taste good? Does it actually work? Things like that. And we also work with sisters to get the label to be what they like. We also do like we send out berberine to other actual sisters, like physically, to see if do they like it? Do they like the bottle? Do they like how it feels? Is it working for them? And up until then, not until all those boxes are checked, we don't release it. That's why it takes so long. We've been talking about it since summer of last 2024. So thank you for everyone's patience, but unfortunately, we're a little bit OCD when it comes to this stuff.
Yes. Not unfortunately.
No, I know, yeah. Fortunately for you, but you just have to wait longer.
So, sisters, I hope you enjoyed this episode with the fish oil saga, the berberine supplement that is launching, and the way that it works as effectively as a GLP-1 or similarly.
Yes. And if you want to order yours from our website, just head over to ovafit.org, ovafit.org. Ours also comes in a 90 pill supply, so you get a lot more in a bottle versus like a 30 pill or 60 pill supply. So hopefully that makes it also easier to have a longer consistency with it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you everyone for this episode. We love you. Until next week, until next episode, we will see you on the IG.